Hello, welcome to Comcast Newsmakers, bringing you news and information from people making a difference in our communities. I'm Beverly Weaver, and joining me now is Stacy Bear, Director of Veterans Expeditions. Welcome, Stacy. Thanks for coming in.
Thanks a lot, Beverly. It's great to be here.
Let's begin with what your organization does. You're really focused on helping veterans reintegrate into society once they come back from the war zone.
That's right, and it's not just veterans from Iraq or Afghanistan, but we're actually working with veterans from the last 40 years of military service. And our idea is that if we can get a bunch of veterans together in the outdoors, that a lot of wonderful things can happen. We don't express to be a therapy organization or anything else like that. Our agenda is simply to get veterans together, having fun in the outdoors, reconnecting to nature and reconnecting to themselves.
Yeah. Tell me a little bit about your transition from the military to civilian life. When did you get out, and how difficult was it, Stacy, for you really to come back and kind of deal with that day-to-day grind?
It was pretty difficult. I got back from Iraq in 2007, and I started graduate school almost immediately after I got back. And what you realize when you come back is that most people don't know anybody in the military. They don't know what the veteran experience is like, and it's so far removed from them. So that's really, really difficult. And you get in a lot of conversations where people are talking about the military or they're talking about a soldier, and all of a sudden you say, hey, you know, I'm a veteran. And they look at you and they go, well, you don't look like a veteran. You don't seem like a veteran. And it's always interesting to hear what people's expectations of what a veteran is supposed to look like or sound like. So that's really difficult. And then all the little things, day-to-day life, paying bills, getting gas, you don't have to worry about that when you're in the military. You know what you're going to do every day. You're worried about getting to the end of the day. You're worried about getting to the end of the deployment. So, and for me as a single guy, I think in some ways it may be easier because I don't have a family to come back to that's changed or learned to live without me, which oftentimes happens. So it's a very difficult transition.
Yeah, the biggest challenges, I would say, that you've seen are probably echoed by other veterans that are returning home now, or perhaps had come back, as you said, even 20 years ago.
Oh, without a doubt. I mean, I think the veteran experience hasn't changed that much from World War II until now. I think the big difference is that now more veterans are talking about it. There's a 24-hour news cycle. You know, so there's a lot more information out there for people to get to and to talk about. But it is a very, very difficult transition, and in some ways it never really ends. I mean, there's always memories and thoughts that continue to come back to you, or there's an action that all of a sudden will trigger a memory.
Yeah, most definitely. And in terms of what Veterans Expeditions does, you really are taking people out in nature, but tell me some of the specific trips that you have going on, things that are planned, and how many people are you expecting to participate?
We always look for groups between 8 to 16 people, so kind of a squad size, which a lot of people in the military are familiar with. We do a lot of climbing, hiking. We're going to begin fundraising for a trip in February for Baja California for kayaking and whale watching. And really what we're doing is making sure that we have activities for absolutely everybody that can be there. So even if you're a quadriplegic, a paraplegic, you have an amputee, you have physical disabilities, mental disabilities, we care, but for our trip, we're just saying, hey, come on. If you're from Vietnam, if you're from Gulf War I, come on out with us and we'll get you outside. And if somebody doesn't like any of the activities we're doing and they want to help us do something else, we'll look into that and we'll find a way to get veterans outside and just reconnecting and spending time together.
Is it also difficult, Stacy, to really see some veterans come back and they look whole, and yet they may have suffered a traumatic brain injury, or there may be some piece that's been affected or changed about them?
Without a doubt. You can't look into a crowd and think to yourself, oh, that individual's disabled or that person's a veteran. I mean, I have a lot of physical trauma that I've got all my limbs. And even if I'm wearing pants and didn't have a limbs, you couldn't tell, you know. And so it's the mental trauma, the mental disability, and a lot of physical disabilities you can't even tell. And then the traumatic brain injury, post-traumatic stress issues. So people look whole, people look fine. I mean, I got my master's degree from, you know, out in Philadelphia, and everybody thought, oh, you know, you're doing great. You're getting your master's degree, you're getting a job. And meanwhile, inside, I was a mess. You know, I was screwed up. I wasn't doing well with relationships. I wasn't doing well with a number of other things. But I looked whole. I was checking all the right blocks.
Right.
But that doesn't mean that you're still not struggling. And in the military, you're taught to be strong and carry on and just, you know, put your rack on and keep going.
Right.
So.
Yeah. Where can people go, Stacy, to get more information on Veterans Expeditions and also Veterans Green Jobs, which is another organization you're involved in?
Right. If they check out vetexpeditions.com or veteransgreenjobs.org, both of those websites get a lot of information, and we would love people to help us out and get involved.
Yeah. Stacy Bear, the Director of Veterans Expeditions, thanks so much for being with us.
Thank you so much for having me.
And thanks for watching Comcast Newsmakers. I'm Beverly Weaver.